Hey guys, Brandon Woolum. Today we are checking in with Yair Levi. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks, God. How are you?
Good. We were just talking. It is mid-afternoon for me, but it is getting into the later hours for you. You're over there in your home country. And
Yeah, right now I'm in Tel Aviv. 9:30 around to 10.
yeah, well, you got a new single that's out there now that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But you have a unique and powerful story for our Christian music fan viewers. So let's go back to the beginning first. Tell us a little bit about your story and when you first realized your music was reaching these different audiences worldwide.
Um, I'm 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 Israeli. I'm 100% regular Israeli. Suddenly I realized that after I wrote a song, so it started even before. Like I had a band when I was 16, and I went to the. You have to go when you're 18 to the army. I quit after 8 years after I went to a special unit, kind of similar to the Navy SEALs in Israel. And then I realized that I want to fulfill my dream, so I started to make music. I quit from the service and I started to make music. After a couple of years that things started to go really well, I wrote a song for my grandma during COVID that she was ill, and all my life changed in a moment. I suddenly saw a lot of people doing like this and singing my song. And I said like, that's interesting. Who are those people? And in Israel, like we have a Christian community, but most of the time the Christian community is like in Jerusalem, in churches like that took like a lot of Catholic churches, not necessarily like people like ISO. It was look a little bit different. Um, um, and my first instinct was like, it's not my people. I don't want to sing to them. I'm sorry about what I'm saying, but I just want to explain where I came from. And with the time, I realized, wow, I don't know anything about this world. Although I was in a special unit in the army, I'm like a serious person. I don't know, whatever. I love to study. I love history. I really don't know America, Europe, South America, Africa. I don't know the people there. And I was so surprised to see, from my perspective, I'm an Orthodox Jew. It's not even allowed um, to do what I'm doing today. And I got a permission from a very high, important rabbi to do what I do. But it was like a lot of stereotypes about people. But when I met the people, I saw, wow, like such an humble people, such a great people with so much faith that I couldn't even imagine how I will just fall in love with this community, and how much I will learn from them. And I decided to go for it, and I decided that this is a calling from God. After a couple of songs that I released that become more and more popular, again it was all underground. Today it's become a little bit more mainstream. Suddenly we get some playlisting on Apple and like stuff like. Think about it, for me to see like my song in new Christian music of this week. It's like interesting. But it was at the beginning just underground. People just wanted to communicate maybe with the Hebrewness of their faith. And I was one of the people that they reach out to.
Yeah, you talk about receiving that special ruling that allows you to go into churches and do this. That may be something that a lot of people on this side may not even understand how that works. So, kind of take us through how that process goes and what that meant to you when you heard that ruling that you had permission to do this.
So I had a manager. We still work from some project together, but he's not managing me anymore. But he told me like, listen, it's great things happening. You get a lot of invitation, but you need to go into churches. But there is a rule in Orthodox Judaism that it's not allowed to go into churches. It's a very kind of a new rule. It's not from the Bible. It came from because of the Inquisition They wanted to protect the people. It's understood, and that rule was to protect the community. Um, so he told me like, why won't you go to ask a rabbi because it's a new rule? Just to maybe we'll give you permission. I know that sometimes ministers and important people get permission. So like, first of all, I'm not a minister, and probably I'm not gonna get it. But I will take the chance to ask. But I will go to the most ultra orthodox rabbi that I can find to make sure that he will say no. And that's where I was. Today I'm in a different place, but I'm just to explain where I was. Um, my thought was like, okay, if they love my music, so I will just up rent a venue and sell tickets. Like I don't want to be to cross the rules of my rabbis and my beliefs. And then I went to a rabbi. He came back to me after a month saying it's very complicated. So I went to my rabbi, that is one of the most biggest rabbis in the world today. It gave me a permission. It gave you a permission to do this, and I was like, it was part of the moment when I said, okay, it's a calling from God. I can't be Jonah. Although I live in Jaffa, that this is exactly where Jonah was running from God, from this port right here. But I don't want to be Jonah. I said like, okay, it's too many things happening here that I can't ignore anymore. That this is kind of something that God is calling me to do, and I think maybe the fact that I'm coming from such a different place was also till today my thing. Like I can understand and can represent to people that I meet the other side. That I believe both sides have a lot of stereotypes against each other. That in the moment that from where I come from, with the permission, so no one can tell anything, not this side and not this side, and I can be able to kind of bridge and make something that I think it's historic, um, to bring these two communities to become friends.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about the new song. The new single is out there now called Back to You, Sabbath. Take us back and to the writing sessions of that. Tell us kind of what that song is about for folks that haven't streamed it yet.
This is part of, it's very connected to what we were talking about. For me, it's a process also of study. Every session when I write with people, it's kind of, I study a lot. So in this session, I was, I met Ryan, and writing session sometimes is like kind of, you feel like a kid that his mom put him in to play with another kid that they don't know. So I just found myself in a room with Ryan that I first for the first time. It's like, oh, who you are, where you live, like what you do. And after a couple of, I don't know, I don't know, we were talking about who am I, where I come from, my story and his story. And then he said like, let's write a song about Sabbath. And I said like, are you Jewish? Like, what do you mean? And then it started like a conversation, a very deep conversation about his perspective about this word and my perspective about this word. And it turned out to a song, that all the lyrics of the song, and this is something that I were very proud of what I'm trying to do in my songs. It's also kind of a teaching that in Hebrew, for example, Shabbat, it means not only like to rest. It comes also from the word lashuv. It means to come back. That's why we call the song "Back to You." So it's also kind of a teaching of the meaning of the word, because the idea of Sabbath is not something that I'm working so hard and then I need to take a rest, to smoke weed or drink beer, to forget what's happened in the last week. It's the opposite. Like the idea of Sabbath is to go back to yourself, to meet God in yourself, to ask yourself, how was my last week, of course, but what I'm gonna do next. to get some inspirations and rest to your soul to be ready for the new week. So this is the idea of the process of the biblical meaning of Sabbath. And unfortunately, in the Western culture, we go to rest after we almost like we feel like we can't breathe anymore. That's when we take a rest. The Sabbath idea is that in order to be who you need to be or to work well, you need to first to come to yourself, and then you can I don't know, do what you need to do in your life, each one with his purpose and calling. Um, yeah, this is a song.
Yeah, and as people listen to this, they're going to get to hear some traditional Israeli instruments mixed in there with some of the modern Nashville sounding production too. Why was it important for you to get to keep some of that in this track also?
So I'm trying to bring my listeners, and I have to say that it's kind of also a kind of a study, kind of something that I'm trying to see how it works, but to give the listener kind of an atmosphere of biblical atmosphere. Like we imagine a lot of the people in the Bible today like blonde and like I don't know walking, and but the truth is that all this story happened in the Middle East. Um, I know that I'm kind of also kind of not so like I'm kind of not look like very Middle Eastern, but the truth is that I'm mixed. Like my grandfather came from Poland, came back to Israel, and the other 30, 75%, like half of it's from Yemen and quarter from Tunisia. So people in Israel are really mixed. What I'm trying to say is that I grew up on Arabic music, that people call it Arabic, but for me it was like Jewish music. So I'm trying to kind of tell the story also of the Bible through these instruments that have bring the listener something new that maybe can give him the context that I'm not trying to be American. I'm not trying to to pretend that I born and raised in Texas or Nashville. I'm trying to bridge the message, but at the end of the day, I'm Israeli.
Yeah, it's needed in a time right now. We've got so much division in the world. It feels like so we need this music that can hopefully bridge some of these gaps between Jewish and Christian believers. I love it. What do you think's something that Christians sometimes misunderstand about the Jewish roots of their faith?
Um, I think that first of all, everything I'm going to tell you now, it's things that people reach out to me and telling me. Things like, oh, I didn't know. Like I realized suddenly that Jesus was a rabbi. For example, this I don't. It's not my saying. Like people coming to me, and there's like an underground, or maybe it's not underground anymore. People that are talking like this, and or saying or are saying that, oh, I just realized that all the New Testament is actually was written by Jews, and it's all like Jewish perspective of something of the story. So if I want to understand how this people used to live, what they're talking about, so I need for a second to understand what is Judaism of those days, for example. And I hear a lot of people really curious about it. I think the second thing, and this is something that people know me maybe sometimes more than or maybe equal to my music, is also like my social media that I share about the Hebrew language. So I think that I tell a lot of people that I meet, you need to understand, like the moment you start to read the Bible in Hebrew, and I'm not telling like anyone like take the Bible, start to read it in Hebrew because you don't understand, but if you don't understand Hebrew, but in the moment that you start to research about the Hebrewness of the Bible, to ask yourself or to read books that explain about it or to read articles about it, you suddenly understand that every letter, every word in the Bible doesn't mean only the story. Like there are so many layers inside because, for example, just in Shabbat, I gave you the example in Sabbath that it means at least seven. There is at least seven meanings that I can give like this. So think about it that the person, even my kid, that when you read it in Hebrew, you read it in kind of a way that he understands four things in the same reading. It's a different way of reading, and it's so interesting for me because I coming from this place that it for me is a common thing. Like, okay, this how I read my Bible. There could be a lot of meanings. Um, it was like, oh, wait a second. When I meet person that read it only in English or Dutch or doesn't matter, he have only one meaning for the story, so you miss so much. Um, so these are like I think the three or two things that I hear a lot from people, and it can be amazing for people to go deeper with their faith through these two things.
Yeah, on the other side of that, what have you yourself learned about Christians that it's been deeply encouraging to you?
I have to say that I never experienced such an amazing worship or prayers. Um, I think I learned from it so much. Like the first time I went to see like a worship event, I was like, wow, I can't believe like this is so powerful, and so it's gave me a lot of inspiration. Also, like things that we need to do here in Israel, maybe more. And the way that I think that like the key for me is always like to see the people and to like this is my biggest inspiration. Like I see people with so much faith all in the singing and it's unbelievable. Like I was surprised. I told you also in the story that in the beginning that I was surprised how much faith there is over in the Christian communities. It's I think for me it was the thing that changed all my mind about that make me open also to listen, to ask questions and to learn. Um, yeah.
Yeah. When this music started coming out that was kind of geared towards some of the Christian crowds, how were the reactions over there by folks that you knew? Were they all positive or were there some negative ones in there too?
Um, I didn't get like a negative response. I think mostly because I got a permission. So it's kind of it changed a lot in the way people see it, but also because that um at the end of the day, I'm still who I am. Like I'm not changing anyone and I'm not changing myself, although for sure I learned so much and I'm open for changes always. Think you need to be flexible and to ask yourself questions, and I ask a lot of questions during this journey. But I think that um yeah, it's kind of surprising actually because I was curious to see what the people here will think about it. Um, Last song, I see it kind of a miracle, like kind of a protection from God on this project. In this last song, Sabbath, we got playlist of new Christian music, and then also playlist of new Jewish music. And it's like I just sent it to my team. I saw it and I said it to them. It's like this is this is huge. Like, and a lot of time, like when I release songs, depends how much like I don't know. It depends what's happened with the song. But I had a lot of songs in the last couple of years that you could see him like in Christian Post or I don't know, and then you can see the same song in very ultra orthodox like website in Israel or in the US. Um, yeah, it's I don't know, it's protection.
Yeah, that's great. We've talked a lot about Hebrew in this conversation. For someone who's not super fluent in Hebrew, what's that one Hebrew word that you think every believer should know?
Wow. Um, Wow. Okay. I can just maybe give an example
Mhm.
that opened, like when I released this video about the example that I'm gonna say, um, a lot of pastors started to preach it in their churches, and people sent me from the churches like videos that, look, my pastor is talking about it, because it was very viral. The idea is that I suddenly realized that when God telling Abraham to go forward to leave his country, so in the English Bible it say leave your country, go forward, um, leave your family. In Hebrew it said lech lecha. But if you want to say go forward, you can say just lech. No need to say lecha. Lecha, it means to you. So the Hebrew Bible say in the same time it said go forward, say go forward to yourself.
Hmm.
And this is like change the whole story. If you think about it, the idea of leave your family is not the main thing. It's just the key to find yourself. And what is yourself? It's not like to go and find yourself, like as we say right now in the Western culture. It's more like find God in your calling. This is why you need to leave everything, to disconnect from everything you knew about yourself in order to ask yourself. It's very connected to what we said about Sabbath, like to go deeper in yourself to find your calling from God. So when I just paused this video, it became so viral. I was so surprised. And I think that this is like an example. It's not necessarily the most important word, but it's very important example of how much is important to make more research about the Hebrew meaning of the verses.
Yeah, well, as we wrap up, we've talked a lot about the music. What is the rest of the year looking like for the English sung music from Yair? Is there more coming out this year? I know you're recently here in Nashville, so probably had a few writing sessions while you're over here.
Yeah, so we God willing, praying for it, planning to release another song in couple of weeks, and we have another 4 or 5 songs in this album that started with the song "Blessed." That it will be all in English. That songs that I wrote with amazing people, mostly from Nashville. Um, yeah, that's the plan.
Love it. We'll be on the lookout for that. And back to you. Sabbath is out there now, so go ahead and go give that a listen while we wait for the new stuff. So, what are our chances to see this music live? Most of our viewers are going to be here in America. Will we get a chance, or will other nations around the world get to hear this music this year?
So I get a lot of time response from people saying like, "Will you be able to come to the U.S. sometime?" And people don't realize that I'm every month in the U.S. Like I'm coming to. We have, thanks God, a lot of tourings. So we got another tour in April. It's gonna be Colorado, Texas, Nashville. Like there will be a lot of. I don't remember every place. Another one in July. Another one after. Like there are a lot of tours all the time. You can take a look on my website. And the idea is to worship in Hebrew. We sing also in English, but we worship in Hebrew for people that never speak Hebrew. Like people worshiping in Hebrew in the first time for the first time, and you don't need to know Hebrew. And this is very exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Well, what's the website for people to get the tour dates?
So it's yairlevimusic.com over there.
All right. We'll be on the lookout for that. We'll look for you over here in America and all the new music coming later this year.